Started here. So welcome everyone to Black Blockchain Consultants Intro to Our Consulting Company. I'm your leader, Cheree. I am also going to be the CEO of the company for a while. We'll see how long. I don't mean that in a bad way. I was telling the strategic planning committee that it's really interesting because sometimes you get into these companies and sometimes if you're saying we're going to grow a $50 million company, you're like, oh my goodness, am I the leader for that? But my team said, yeah, you definitely are. And that was, a very interesting conversation that we had about the fact that sometimes you think other people know more than you do, and then you discover that they really don't know anything. But we have put a lot of time and a lot of work into this, and I have a presentation for you tonight that is going to explain the consulting company, what we're going to do, how it's going to work, a little bit about compensation. We're still calculating that, why you want to be a part of it, all of those things. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to get started tonight. So first thing that I definitely want to do is thank the Strategic Planning Committee for being so diligent and helping with the planning for this. I could not have done it without you. So I really, really want to thank all of you for giving me your input, and all of everybody that was a part of the Strategic Planning Committee had some sort of input into what happened or what is happening with this company. So again, I really, really want to thank all of you for that. So tonight's agenda, we're going to talk about our name, our mission, our vision, and our company services. We're going to talk about how you as a consultant can make money within this consulting company. We're going to talk about our marketing and promotion plan, our team. I'm going to show you our first year budget because I do believe in transparency for this. And we're also going to talk about earning equity. And we have a couple of things that we're doing in regards to earning equity. I have a personal belief that it's nice for us and necessary for us to get fee for services. However, real wealth in this world is not gained from getting fee for services. It's gained from having equity and ownership. And if we want to be a part of this $3.1 trillion industry and really make money from it, it's not from us getting fee for services. It is about us owning something and owning several things. So with that, when we started talking about the company itself, the consulting company that we're going to start, I went back to Black Blockchain Consultants' original 5-year vision that I had for our group. And these were the things that I envisioned for the Black Blockchain Consultants group overall. Number one is 10,000 Inner Circle members. I wanted 50,000 people per year educated in our school. I wanted everyone within our ecosystem to make $150,000 a year or more. Now, again, that could come from full-time job plus side hustle. It could come from maybe blockchain consulting being your full-time business. So there's a lot of different ways that 150 could come. But I definitely want us having above average earnings. And then multiple businesses on the way to $10 million to $1 billion valuation. And I still stand by that. So as we were putting this together, I always kept this vision in the back of my head as we were proceeding with our direction. And Chris Patton Walker asked me an interesting question. He asked me, well, what's the mission? What's the mission of this company? And my answer to him was, I don't know. Now, he ended up coming up with the mission. But I said, my personal mission is that everybody eats. Everybody eats. And what I mean by that is anybody that is in our ecosystem, if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to do your part for the business, then you will see an outcome at the end of the day. That's my primary goal. That's why I get up. That's why I stay up late. That's why I'm doing all sorts of things with and for the company. That's why I'm setting things up as quickly as possible. And at the end of the day, if you come up to me and you say, you know, Cheree, because of BBC and because of this blockchain consulting company that we created, I was able to live my dream, whatever that dream is, whether it's putting your kids in private school or whether it's purchasing a home or purchasing some investment real estate or whatever it is that your dream is, I want to at least be a part of helping you build that up. And I want this consultancy to be a part of that as well. So, so everybody eats is my mantra, and it's what keeps me going when I get really tired physically. But this is very important to us. So with that, I want to introduce you to Blockchain Consortium International, or BCI. First of all, big ups to Audrey Taylor for creating our logo. And the team came up with the name Blockchain Consortium International. And we are super excited. I hope everyone in the chat is talking about how excited you are. This is a real company. We have our LLC officially. It is in Virginia. We have a tax ID number. Probably later on this week or early part of next week, I'm setting up a bank account. All of those things are happening, and I am going to try to set up a bank account at a Black bank. I will let you know that as well. But we are a global organization, a global consultancy that's going to focus primarily on two lines of business. The first is ICO and blockchain company consulting. The second is the Center for Blockchain Studies, which is, of course, our school. So we have been talking about our school, which hopefully, tentatively, she said yes. Dr. Keisha Waddell is going to be the executive director of the Center for Blockchain Studies. And that school is all about training. And the training is going to happen not only externally, but also internally. So everybody that is a part of BCI has to be trained, and you have to be properly trained before you can represent us, because quality control is very, very, very important in this company. So you cannot go out unless you are, or you cannot lead a project, or you cannot go out and train people unless you are properly trained yourself, not only in the information, but in delivering that information to people. We know we're Black. We have to be 3 times as good just to be considered on the same level. And the Center for Blockchain Studies' job is to work with us internally to make sure that we are the best of the best of the best. And then we're also going to have our ICO and blockchain company consulting. So as we know from our studies, there are public blockchains and there are private blockchains. So I'll give you a key example. Many of you know I write business plans for a living. I write business plans for companies that are raising capital or need business plans for different reasons. And I had a gentleman call me who was a lawyer in New York, and he called me with a blockchain application idea. And he was not interested in doing an ICO because, and I can't really divulge what his idea was, but trust me, I understood it when he called me. He wasn't interested in doing an ICO, but yet he would still be a prime person to come and work with BCI because he had a blockchain use case and he needed a business plan and ultimately a business built around this blockchain use case. So that is part of what we're doing is we are focused on building a business around software developers and coders that have a blockchain idea. So if you think about your Fortune 500 company, there's always the main product that they're selling. However, that product that's being manufactured and sold cannot run without funding, branding, marketing, sales, recruiting, human resources, employee training, legal, etc. We're doing the same thing. Our goal is to find blockchain coders that have an idea. And we're going to build the business around them. Everything from their ICO consulting, getting them listed, all of those things, community management, all of that, to the technical liaison. So Terrence Mack talked about doing a statement of work and being that technical liaison. That's going to be included in what we're doing. The fundraising, the branding, marketing, and sales, the recruiting, HR, so writing operations manuals and doing payroll and all of that stuff, employee training, accounting, operations, legal, anything that you can imagine that is a non-coding position is what we're going to do for our clients. Okay, and I hope I'm super clear on that. If not, throw a question in the Q&A and I will definitely answer it. So our mission is to help organizations cultivate an idea into a $100 million enterprise. And our vision is to become the world's most influential blockchain consultancy. And our goal, our big goal, is to become a $50 million per year organization. 5 years may be a little bit aggressive, but I say, hey, got to think big, right? Let's go for it. Because if we don't do it in 5 years, it's going to be kind of tough for us to catch up after that. So yeah, it's aggressive, but it's something that if we work together, if we are on one accord and we work together, I believe we can do this. I cannot do it alone. Cheree can't do it alone. Tessa can't do it alone. Eugenia can't do it alone. But together, as a group, we can hit this. So what we want to do, which is unique from other ICO consulting companies, because other ICO consultancies, they just take people to ICO and to being listed, and that's it. We want to bust through that and be with them, be with that blockchain developer for a multi-year contract. And we're going to go from concept to ICO and or launch. So if it's a private blockchain, they may not do an ICO, but they may do some sort of a launch of their product, to break even, where they start getting some sales and some traction, to being profitable, to cashing out. And in exchange for that, we're going to get a monthly retainer, plus maybe some tokens, plus equity. And this is where the wealth building comes in, because I don't want us to just be fee-for-service people. I want us building equity. So think about it. Microsoft just purchased GitHub for $7.5 billion. Imagine if we owned 5% of GitHub because of the work we have been doing for them for many, many years. Now imagine if we were just getting a monthly retainer and we did not have equity in GitHub. So hopefully you see, and this is the one thing that I was adamant about with the strategic planning company, the strategic planning group, but they agreed with me. This is the one thing that I was adamant about. Any project that we take long-term must include equity for us. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that we won't take a company that just wants us to do a white paper for them. We're going to take those all day long. We're going to take companies that just want us to do the technical statement of work. We'll take those all day long because those are nice entrees into developing a relationship with these companies. But at the end of the day, if we are working to help companies break through to profitability and to cashing out, we must have equity in the businesses we're supporting. And I see some questions here, so I'm going to answer them really quickly. Anita's saying, looks great. Wow, thank you. Eugenia is saying, awesome, fantastic. Sydney is asking, what if the client does not want us for a multi-year and just wants to Chinese menu us? So we will have, again, for white paper writing, yes, they can just select that as a menu item. Or we have other things, and Tawana and I are working on the menu of services. We have other things that we are allowing people to just choose one thing off the menu. But there comes a certain point, if we're making that business profitable and setting it up where it could be sold, because you have to think about Amazon, Facebook, Google, how do they get bigger? They don't get bigger by inventing things. They get bigger by acquiring companies. If you study the stock market and you study how these big organizations work, they're getting heavily into the blockchain, right? They're going to start buying these viable blockchain projects. And they're going to buy them for hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. And we, up until a certain point, we will just accept fee for service. But if we're helping them get rich, they're going to help us get rich. So Sydney, I hope that answered your question. Dr. Keisha saying BBC or no task graph, it's equity, hashtag equity, yes. And Kayron is asking, can you define cash out? Sure. So cashing out is, again, GitHub. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with what GitHub is, but it was a location or a platform where a lot of developers went in order to set up and talk about their software projects. And Microsoft just bought GitHub for $7.5 billion. And this was a company, GitHub wasn't even profitable, but Microsoft bought it for its own reasons. But these types of acquisitions are happening all the time. In fact, within these large companies, there are teams of people that are just looking for companies to acquire. And if you're positioned properly, someone's going to come and someone's going to make an offer to buy your company. And that is how large companies tend to grow their share prices. So they tend to not build things. Apple is kind of an anomaly in terms of companies that internally build things. They tend to make a lot of acquisitions in order to do that. So that's what the cash out means. It's the entrepreneurs that we're working with cashing out, and we get a piece of it. So see two more questions here, hold on. BBC equals BCI? Oh, that's a great question. No. So not everybody that is a part of BBC is going to be a part of BCI. There is an application process, which I'll talk about, but it's Tawana Rivers will be the main person in charge of that. And we are just going to be selective in terms of making sure that people that come into BCI are properly trained to represent us and are following our quality control rules that we're going to set. And I will admit that those are still being ironed out, but Tawana and I are going to work on those over the next 3 weeks. But anybody, I don't shut anybody down from being in BBC, as long as, you know, you come in. It doesn't matter what race you are, as long as you come in and you want to pass the certified blockchain expert, you know, course and all of that, you can be a part of BBC, but that does not mean you'll be a part of BCI. A great question, thank you. Would we consider using acquisition versus cash out? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's possible. So let's go to the next slide here. Okay, so there are multiple ways for you to earn money in this company. And the idea is for you to earn money as we are progressing, and then for us to have some big paydays as well. And I have to put this caveat on. I cannot promise any of this stuff, but this is what we are moving towards. So the first way that you can make money is to bring deals to the table. If you bring us revenues, you will get a commission. And we'll talk about that in a couple of slides later. You can write proposals. If you write proposals that are winning proposals and we win them, you'll make money. You can help us close deals. So sometimes a deal will not close right away. Sometimes that deal requires nurturing over a 6-month period or a 1-year period, especially as we are looking at larger opportunities. So if you're somebody, you're not very good at going out and finding people, but once you know them, you're very good at reaching out to them every couple of months and sending them different articles and different pieces of information, and you nurture that relationship to a point where it closes, you can make money. You can make money from working on projects. And what we want you to do is use your God-given skills and or what you do for a living now and just transfer them to a blockchain company. So what we've done is we basically said you don't have to necessarily learn new skills unless you want to. Instead, what you do is take the skills, let's say you're in HR for your Fortune 500 job, you take those same HR skills and you transfer them over to BCI. But always, we also want you to learn new things, whether it's writing white papers or whether it's writing a technical statement of work, because there are going to be nice fees available to you and more opportunities if you know how to do those things as well. You can teach at our school. So anybody that is putting together any course for our school can earn money, whether it's a use case course or the, I think we're calling it blockchain certified expert. Dr. Keish, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Or whatever course we have within the school. If you are a part of writing the curriculum, you will earn money. And we're also going to be doing some train the trainers, where eventually you can make residual income every time that that course is taught, like or the license is purchased, or that course is taught somewhere, you know, across the world. If you wrote it and it's your intellectual property, which is going to be coming into the company, you can make money being one of our teachers or being somebody that creates our curriculum. You can earn equity in a project. And the big one that you may not think about is you can also save money on taxes, because you will be an independent contractor, which means you'll be a business owner, which means that you can work the tax code in your favor. So with that, there is equity that we will share with consultants. And BCI, there will be an opportunity for you as consultants to earn equity in BCI, because I want you to think about using the blockchain to build wealth. So with that, for every multi-year business package that's sold, remember I told you how we go from concept to ICO to profitability to either cashing out or acquisition. For every one that we sell, 25% of that equity that we get from that entrepreneur will come to BCI, and 75% will go to the consultants that are vested in that project. And we're going to have a contract for all of you to tell you exactly what it takes to be vested. So if any of you earn shares within your current companies, you know that you have to be there a certain amount of time and you have to hit certain goals in order for you to be vested. So again, we're going to be working on that with the attorney in order to talk about what that is going to look like. But I can promise you it will be fair to any consultant that's working on the projects. So this slicing pie model, which there's a book, you can also go on YouTube and hear Mike Moyer, who is the author, talk about slicing pie. But this model is a fair way of offering equity to team members that are either working long-term on a project or bringing that deal to the table, or helping that entrepreneur find funding for that deal. So the harder that you work, or sometimes you can just work your contacts, the better off you are in terms of being positioned to make money in terms of equity within a deal that we do, or a project that we do. So this slide is based on my knowledge of angel investors and the way that they think in terms of investing in a project. And even though we may not invest money in a project, we'll be investing our time in a project. If the typical angel investor invests in 10 blockchain projects, most likely 6 will fail. 3 will have some sort of moderate success, meaning they'll chug along, and 1 will be very successful, whether it's an IPO or they sell to a large company. And again, for every blockchain project, if we have 10 blockchain projects, I can't guarantee it's going to work like this. I'd love for all of them to be successful, but most likely, this may be the rule that happens where one of them is successful, which means that BCI will receive 25% of the equity that we negotiated in the deal, and the consultants who are vested in that project will receive 75% of the equity in that deal. So then the question becomes, what if I want to earn equity in all the deals that BCI is doing and not just in the projects that I'm working on? Well, there's a way for you to do that. But before I talk about that, I want you to just see on the left side of the screen where we're talking about revenue share. So if you think about those 6 companies that may fail, you're still going to be getting a check from them for the work that you're going to be doing. So it's not like you're doing all this work and no money is coming in at all. If we are taking on projects, except for the apprenticeships that we've agreed to, if we're taking on projects, there will be a check in there for you, but the equity piece won't be there. So the revenue sharing is 50 to 70% of all engagements and trainings sold will go to you as the consultants. And the difference between a 50 to 70% will depend on the deal. I am working with the attorney now and with Tawana in order to outline how much revenue you'll get depending on, and everyone's going to have a billable rate. And that's how we're going to do the pricing when we submit the pricing to to a prospect. So if you think about a McKinsey or an Accenture or a PwC, they'll have junior associates, they'll have associates, they'll have senior associates, they'll have partners, right? And each of them have varying degrees of knowledge. And then each of them have different billable rates. So we will have the same thing. If you're a beginner in blockchain, if you're an intermediate in blockchain, or if you're advanced in blockchain and you've done a lot of blockchain projects, you'll receive a higher billable rate, and thus you will receive more money for that task that you are working on. So 50 to 70% will go to you. 5 to 10% goes to the sales team. Those are the proposal writers, grant writers, and this includes second and third generation referrals. So what do I mean by that? Let's say that you bring Joe to us, and Joe hires us to do a project for him. And Joe really likes us. So Joe introduces us to Mary, and Mary hires us to do work for her. Even though you did not introduce us to Mary, you still receive a percentage commission on the work that Mary has given us. That is a second generation referral. And let's say Mary introduces us to Tim. That's a third generation referral, and you get money on any business that Tim brings to us as well. So even though you did not know Mary and you did not know Tim, you still got paid. So that's second and third generation referrals. And then 25 to 40% is going to come to BCI. And again, in the next 3 weeks, we're going to have this really spelled out, and you're going to receive this is going to be 3 to 4 weeks, an independent contractor agreement with all of this spelled out. But if you want to earn part of that equity within BCI, you either need to be an officer, or you need to join something called our money team. I called it the revenue team before, but I got feedback that I might want to make it a little bit more spunky. So the money team, I'm going to explain a little bit more later, but it is a group of people that, let me take a step back. I receive emails, phone calls, text messages from people within BBC saying, Cheree, I have this great opportunity for us, and I don't have time to pursue all of those opportunities, but they would be revenue producing opportunities. So I'll give you an example. Diana Mitchell came to me and said that she knows a lot about the U.S. Department of Education grants, so that we can get workforce development grants for BBC and BCI so that we can do training, right? This money team would be responsible for working with Diana and her team in order to help us pursue those opportunities. We have other opportunities that Chris Henry has presented to us that we can take advantage of if we had a team of about 3 to 4 people who were just concentrating on how do we translate that opportunity, that introduction, into cash for this business. So if you're part of this money team that we're setting up, and there are no members of it yet, so I need members. If you're part of this money team, you can get equity in BCI. Also, investors can get equity in BCI. It is against the law, it's against the SEC law for me to solicit you on this platform for investment. All I will say is, if you want to know more information, reach out to me personally. And all of you should know how to do that. Producing social media or blog content for 18 months or more. So we need some thought leadership in the world. And we have our YouTube channel, we have our Facebook channel, We may start our Instagram channel. We need content. We need video content. We need written blog content. We need to prove that we're thought leaders. If you want to earn equity in BCI and you're willing to start a show and do it once a week, I don't care what day of the week you do it. I don't care if you do it at 10 o'clock at night and upload it. Doesn't matter to me. But you've got to do it for 18 months. And it needs to be something that's done weekly. And, you know, we'll have a couple of more parameters in regards to that. But if producing content and being a thought leader is your thing, this is an opportunity for you to earn equity within BCI by producing content for us. If you refer 25 grand or more in revenues to the group by December of this year, or 100,000 or more in revenues to the group by December of next year, not only will you get sales commission, but you'll also get equity in BCI as well for being one of the first people that brought cash to the table in terms of work for us to do. So let's see a couple of other questions here. What would be the point of continuing to be part of BBC? Oh, great question. You cannot be a part of BCI without being part of BBC. And the community within BBC as well. I really feel like we have a great community with the knowledge sharing that we have, the article sharing that we have. We have a lot of things happening within BBC that I believe is worthwhile. Dr. Keisha saying, are we considering purchasing a certified minority business enterprise status? Do we have it already? We do not have it already. Oh, your question is pursuing a certified minority business enterprise. Yes, yes, that is one of the things that we are going to pursue. Okay, let's see here. So with BCI equity sharing, again, if you want to be, I also thought that if whether or not you have money, whether or not somebody is an investor with money for BCI, I did not want that to prohibit people from being able to earn equity in BCI. So that's part of the reason why I gave you a couple of different options with regards to how you can get your share of the pie. And again, the slicing pie model rewards team members that are working long-term in order to help us get to profitability. And somebody explained it very well. They called it musical chairs, where you know how the music keeps going and going and going, and when it stops, you sit down, and whoever has a seat, that's who you know, continues in the game. Well, slicing pie is the same way. And what it is it's saying that the music's going to keep going, going, going until we reach a point where, and you'll see these 4 positions here, where we can hire a marketing manager, a chief revenue officer, a business development officer, and a chief people officer. And our chief people officer is our HR and recruiting person. We're able to hire those 4 people full-time and have some money for travel and for marketing. So it's about a $500,000 budget. When we're able to do that, the music stops and nobody else will be able to earn equity in BCI at that time. So the point is for you to continue working until we get to that point. And there will be an agreement that you sign if you want to earn equity within BCI that thoroughly explains the process of earning equity in BCI. And I will also sit on the phone with you one-on-one, you know, for hopefully 15 to 25 minutes if you have additional questions, because I don't want you to take this lightly. So then the question is, why receive equity in BCI? Well, if you are just a fee-for-service person, then you are paid your consultant fees, you're paid your sales commissions, and you're only paid equity on the projects that you are part of. However, if you have equity in BCI, it doesn't matter if you work on a project or not. If that project cashes out or that company becomes acquired, whether or not you ever touched that deal or that project, you have an opportunity to be paid because you were an equity holder in BCI. So that is the upside, is that you get to participate in the upside of all the deals that BCI is a part of, whether or not you ever touched that deal. So you may ask, well, I hear things are happening with the SEC, I hear things are happening with the market, what's going to happen? First of all, we are able to pivot no matter what. We're going to start off heavily with the training as we begin to become more known for our ICO consulting and our blockchain consulting. But I looked at ICOdata.io, and the stats are that there were more ICOs done in 2018 than in 2017, and more money raised. So for the first 6 months, through the beginning of June, I pulled this a couple of days ago, 846 ICOs, $5.2 billion. There's not a lack of opportunities for us. We are ghost right now. No one knows who we are. I've said to the Strategic Planning Committee that our lack of participation and consensus cannot happen again. We have to have representation where people can know us and people can know who we are. Because when that happens, out of 846 companies, we should have had 80 of them knocking on our door saying, hey, you guys think you can help us? So that's the name of the game. We have opportunities to do subcontracting. I was at the Digital Underground group for the DMV on Saturday, and one of our local members says that in DC there is only one blockchain consulting company, and they're getting all the business, and they have more business than they can handle, and they're crazy hiring. So I've asked her to introduce me to them. What if we're able to get some subcontracting opportunities out of that, or out of some of these other ICO consulting companies that are out there? Venture capitalists. I have a mentor. When I showed him the blocks where we were going from concept all the way to cashing out or acquisition, he said to me, Cheree, you should try venture capitalists, because if they're going to put $20 million into a company, they may say, well, we'll only put $20 million in if you work with a company like BCI, so that we know that you're 100% focused on the development of your platform, and we know that somebody else is taking care of all of that other stuff, and the CEO/developer is not bogged down with all of that operational stuff that still has to get done. So he encouraged me to consider VCs as a market for us. Department of Education grants I already talked about. Chris Henry, of course, we met a couple of weeks ago. There are more opportunities out there than we know what to do with. The question is for us to get focused and for us to become known in the industry and have these phone calls coming to us. So what's our promotion plan? The first one, the big one, is our conference, November 2nd, November 3rd, Baltimore. Be there or be square. We have people coming from all over the country for it. If you want to be one of our consultants, it's pretty close to mandatory for you to be there on November 2nd, because we're going to go through all of those building blocks, from taking a company from strategy to break even to profitability to acquisition. we're going to go through that entire process in terms of how to do that for a blockchain company so that we can, whether you're a salesperson, you are able to articulate what we do, or whether you're a consultant, you are able to understand the entire process. And we're going to have some blockchain education, real blockchain education that's going into that entire process. This conference is also our launch, our launch into the world. So this is a great opportunity for us to promote not only Black blockchain consultants and Biggie, but also BCI. We're going to dominate social media. So we're already started. Raymond Shorter is our interim marketing manager, and he's already started speaking to people about shows that we can do on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you want to do a show, then you want to contact Raymond. We're going to pursue training gigs, because from training gigs, we can hopefully get more consulting gigs. We're going to speak at conferences. Establishing partnerships. We are working now to try to establish a partnership with Block Geeks and with the Government Blockchain Association and anyone else that we can establish partnerships with. We're going to ask BBC members to bring deals to the table. We're going to leverage Biggie, which is, of course, the Blockchain Investor Group International, led by Cheree, who I know is on here tonight. So what do we mean by that? Whenever, so let me take a step back. Biggie has its Shark Tank pitches that they're going to be doing. And these Shark Tank pitches are going to be companies that are looking for money from the group. Biggie may say to some of these entrepreneurs, hey, you should also consider going to talk to BCI about what they're doing, because they may be able to assist you in getting through ICO and to profitability and ultimately to cashing out. We're going to be able to cross-promote with Biggie, because we'll be able to say, as we're meeting people, hey, we know this investor group, why don't you go and do a Shark Tank pitch with them? And that's one of the reasons why Cheree and I are working so closely together, because eventually, with the membership drive that Biggie is doing in November and what we're doing, we should be able to cross-promote and be able to not only find deals, but fund them and nurture them all the way to profitability. So that way, the investors within Biggie make money, we make money, and the entrepreneur makes money. So, and then finally, attending industry events where BCI will pay for conference fees for you to travel, conference fees and travel for you to go to different industry events and different blockchain events. So let's talk about that a little bit more. What's happening from what I see within blockchain is it's about who you know, and it's about who knows you and who knows what you can do. And a lot of that is happening face-to-face at these conferences. But I know that the conferences are very expensive. I was looking at one in Atlantic City that's $1,400. And if you're counting an airplane ride and hotel for 4 days, that can get very pricey. We also know that we can't get to a $50 million company without having representation at these conferences. But we are very strict about how we will pay for conferences. And what we want to do is have people come to us interested in going to a, if you're interested in going to a conference and you're interested in representing BCI at that conference, you have to bring us a plan. And what the plan is going to look like, I'm actually going to take a step back and tell you a personal story. About a year and a half ago, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be on this TV show on MSNBC called Your Business. And the host of it is a woman named JJ Ramberg. And she speaks all over the country. She's an author, and she speaks, and she hosts this TV show. So I sent her a tweet, and I've been wanting to be on the show for 5 years, but I finally, got off my duff. I sent her a tweet, and I said, "Where are you speaking next?" And she sent me a link to a conference that had no price tag on it. And if there's no price tag on it, it means it's too expensive, right? So I said, well, I can't go back and ask her again for something else. So I ended up, sucking it up. Oh, and the conference, you had to apply to come, and you had to be a $5 million plus. Your company, as an entrepreneur, you had to make $5 million or more to attend. But I applied anyway, and I told them in the comments, I don't make $5 million, but JJ Ramberg said, come to this conference, and I hope you'll let me in. Well, they accepted me, and the ticket to get in was $750. And I have a point to this story. So that was more than I ever paid for a ticket into a conference, but I really wanted to be on the show, and I knew the way to be on the show was to meet her face to face and ask her. So I paid my $750. I took the train ride from DC to New York. I saw her first thing when I walked in, walked into the venue. I made a beeline to her. I showed her my book. I had already practiced my pitch. And do you know, I think it was about 3 weeks later, I was interviewed on her TV show. And a couple of months after that, it aired. And my point to you is this. These conferences are as much, actually it's more, about the people that you meet than it is about what is taught there. But if you're spending $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to go to a conference, never go in there without knowing who you are going to meet in terms of having the name of a person that you are going to meet at that conference. The worst thing that any of us can do as entrepreneurs or as representatives of BCI is walk into a conference willy-nilly and hope that the right person crosses your path. No, 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 no. We're deliberate about who we're meeting. So what you would do is, if you see a conference that you want to go to, whether it's a blockchain conference or an industry conference, you're going to come to us with, first of all, the amount of the registration, the hotel, and the airfare for you to get there. And you're going to look at the speakers, the sponsors, the exhibitors, and the organizers of that conference. Why are you looking at those 4 groups? Because those are the 4 groups of people you definitely that you definitely know are going to be there. Speakers are always there, sponsors are always there, exhibitors are always there, and the organizers are always there. And for every $1,000 that you are asking us to pay for this conference, you have to bring us one contact and tell us why you want to meet that contact. How is that contact going to be revenue producing for BCI? What you're going to say to that contact, and how you're going to bring them to the group. And what I mean, how you're going to bring them to the group, I mean, are they coming to be a part of one of our Zooms? Are they coming to be a part of one of our industry consulting groups? Like, where's their value? So we are going to round up, meaning if you come to us and you say, registration fee, airfare, hotel, costs $2,218.46. I'm going to see 2,000 and I'm going to say, you got to bring me three contacts. And you must provide us with the networking plan before we give you any money. You have to be deliberate about where you're going. But our goal is for us in the first year to attend at least 12 of these regional or global conferences. And over time, we'll hopefully attend more and more. So I hope that was clear. If it's not, put it in the Q&A. But this is a very important point for anybody that is considering going to conferences, whether it's in your industry or in another, or just a general blockchain conference. The other thing is, I would hope that everyone is honest. If your corporation, your company, your job is paying for this conference that you want to attend, please don't come to us and double dip. We are not made of money. We're not a Fortune 500 organization. But if you're serious about going to a conference because you see some people that you can connect with and you can bring them back to the group and you can bring those revenues back to the group, we will seriously look at, and we have a line item for you to attend some of these conferences that are low cost prohibitive for us individually. So I only have a couple of slides left. So this is our startup budget for year one. We have already hired a full-time marketing manager. We have money in our budget line items for the different conferences that people can attend and other business development activities that we're going to be doing. We have a budget line item for recruiting and training our consultants. Part of this is for our Baltimore conference marketing, things like that. We have a travel line item in our budget, and that is, for example, Negus, Negus, that is run by Yusuf. There may be a couple of us that choose to go to Texas to visit him if he signs like a multi-year contract with us, or if we want to develop that relationship further to get those multi-year contracts. There may be other opportunities. So for example, when we first started this group, there were a couple of people that came to me that said they worked for their county or their city. I would get on a plane. If you set up the meeting with the appropriate person, I would get on a plane to go to Los Angeles, Memphis, wherever you live, in order to talk to them about BCI and what we're doing and get them onboarded for our training programs and ultimately some of the other consulting that we're doing. So this travel line item is for that purpose. And then we have a little bit of working capital as well. So we're looking at about $87,000 that we need for year one. But our goal is to have 1,000 people trained, whether it's individually through our school or through classes that we are going to be hosting, to have 10 white paper analyses or writing projects, to have 10 statements of work. So I hope that Terrence Mack will continue to agree to work with us on creating that training program for those technical statements of work, because I do agree with him that there's I'm sure, money there. And some of you can be trained on how to do that. And one either pre-ICO or multi-year ICO consultation. So that's our goal between now and next June, is to achieve those revenue goals. Our org chart, right now we're going to keep things pretty tight. I'm going to be the CEO. We are going to have a board of advisors. We're going to have that chief money officer, which is all about revenues. So they're going to be working with the marketing team, the social media team, the proposal team in order to help us generate money. The chief people officer, who will be Tawana Rivers. She's responsible for our recruitment and working with Dr. Keisha, who is going to be the executive director of our school. And the two of them are going to be working on the training, making sure that every consultant that works for us is properly trained. So the project managers, director of consultants is going to be Chris Patton Walker, and the client services officer, we want somebody who is working with all of the clients that we have in terms of an account executive role. And of course, I told you the executive director of the school is Dr. Keisha, and all the trainers that are going to work on the training curriculum or being a trainer will fall under her. And then the final thing that I have, and I see a couple of questions here. So the final thing that I have is, what's the next step? We have a consultant questionnaire, which I'm going to show you really quickly. And I'm also going to put it in FLOC and send it to you by email. But this is a simple BCI questionnaire asking for your first name, last name, your contact information, what's your profession, are you interested in receiving more information about being a consultant, an officer on our committees, or potentially an investor? How many hours per week can you dedicate to BCI consulting? There's no wrong answer there. Check all services that you would like to provide, even if you're not trained for them, because if you're not trained for them, we will definitely have training and classes that are available to you for these skills. What are your talents and skills? What's your goal within BCI? And we are going to require either your LinkedIn profile or your resume, just so we can get an idea of what your past experience is, which helps us sell the consultants within the consulting company a lot better as the sales team. So with that, it's 9:05. Okay, good. I'm making good time. I said an hour for the presentation and an hour for questions. So I know it was a lot. This won't be the last time we talk about it. We have some paperwork to send everyone, but I hope you got a good feel and good feeling for what we're trying to achieve here. So Naresh is asking, will the BCI partner with Biggie to support deals? Just trying to understand if there's a connection between the two organizations. So partner is probably not the right term, and Kayron can answer this question as well. We are loosely associated with Biggie. As you know, I straddle both fences because Kayron asked me to continue being one of their senior support team members within Biggie. But I see a natural synergy within Biggie, and so does she, and so do the rest of the officers. So I don't want to say partner, but I do want to say that we definitely will support deals. And imagine if Biggie has $5–10 million a year to invest in blockchain startups and ICOs, and they have a ton of entrepreneurs coming to them. And Biggie says, hey, yes, we'll be willing to put money into you, but we want you to use BCI. And then people would come to BCI and ask us to help them with fundraising, and we're able to suggest that they consider doing a Biggie Shark Tank pitch. Then all of a sudden you see how we're able to work together. And Tawana's saying, you're exactly right. You're going to be referral sources for each other. Thank you, Tawana. You're absolutely right. Victor's asking, is this being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. Talisha's asking, there will be a block tank at blockchain bash this weekend. Yes. So there is a Shark Tank type of pitch called the Block Tank that's happening at Blockchain Bash this weekend. It is on the outskirts of Philadelphia. So it's blockchainbash.co if you are interested in getting tickets for that. And one of the interesting things that happened when Talisha introduced the Blockchain Bash to me, and we were emailing with the organizer, is he said, do you know any Black entrepreneurs that can do this Shark Tank pitch? We really need a Black person, specifically a Black female. So there is a need for diversity that we can fill. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you are a coder. We can work in order to potentially get coders if you have a really, really good blockchain application. And then trust me, I will do anything and everything I can to support you as a member of BCI and the Black Blockchain Consultants if you have a really great idea. Sydney is asking, will we get training on how to prospect, the specifics of how we find viable potential clients, guardrails, etc.? Yes, I will most likely personally lead that. But yes, you will be getting official training. Some people are really, really great at just suggesting to, for example, Joe, hey, Joe, you should talk to Cheree, and that's all that they want to do, and that's fine. Other people are great at closing deals. So I want to be sure to meet people where they are and where you are. So if you're really, really good at closing deals, you just need to know what to say and what the scripts are and things like that, then yes, we will be having an official session to talk about how to close those deals. But part of that is us, meaning Tawana and I, looking through the resumes and seeing who's good at what and building that initial profile of these are the types of consultants we have within the organization, and here's what we're good at. Eugenia is doing a great job of coordinating our white paper makeover. That's going to be one of the tools you'll be able to use in order to close deals. We are also on our website going to have 2-page executive summaries, and we have people within our training division, our Center for Blockchain Studies, that are taking different industries and creating those 2-page summations. So you'll be able to give that to prospective clients, and they will be able to read that information, see that we are true thought leaders, we know what we're talking about, and that will be another tool for you to use as you're closing. But to be a blockchain closer, you need to be able to speak non-tech as well as know the technology as well, in case you are in a meeting with a CTO or a CIO or someone that knows the blockchain. So even I need to brush up on my skills, on my blockchain vocab and all of that, and that's going to be one of the things that I'm working on as well. So other questions or comments or concerns or anything, I'm open. Okay, another question here. Karen is asking, what are some of the classes that will be available through the school? Great question. So we have, definitely we're working right now on our initial course, which is going to be the Blockchain Certified Expert, which is the basic level course. We are also going to have Terrence Mack work on a course teaching people how to write technical statements of work and manage the project from a technical point of view. We are also going to have some use case classes as well. So for example, Ron Clement is going to be teaching the cybersecurity and blockchain course. Raymond Shorter will be teaching the entertainment and sports and blockchain course. So there will be different courses in terms of industries and use cases as well. I'm sure there are going to be a ton of courses that come out of it, some that we haven't even thought of yet because everything's moving so fast. Karan is asking about tuition. Our blockchain certified expert course will probably be $99. Outside of that, we have not come up with any decisions in regards to what the tuition would be for other courses, but we'll work to keep them competitive. Let's just say that. I don't want to say reasonable because some of the blockchain courses that are out there are not reasonable, and sometimes people value things more if they have to pay more for them. So we'll work that out though. Talisha's asking, have we considered providing a blockchain evaluation service offering for businesses interested in seeing how they can leverage blockchain? Yes, we have, and that is partially something that we can do within that blockchain consulting portion of the business. Victor is asking, I tuned in late. Did you cover salary? Is it entirely commission, salary, or a mix of both? So we will have, if you think, Victor, about a law firm or a consulting firm, you're going to have your junior associates, your senior associates. So you're going to have a billable rate depending on what you do and your stage within blockchain. If you're a beginning blockchain consultant, intermediate, or advanced. And what's going to happen in about 3 to 4 weeks is you're going to get an independent contractor contract, as well as some other agreements. And part of that contract will include what your billable rate is going to be. You can also earn commission if you bring deals to the table, meaning if you bring revenues to the table. So if you have someone that that you refer to the organization, we're going to put it into what's called a CRM, which is a client relation management system. It's a marketing, client relation management system. And it will say that you referred that person. And when that person becomes a client and every time they pay us, you get a commission on that. And you also get a commission on what's called second generation and third generation referrals as well. So you can go back and hear my explanation in regards to what that means. Ron Clement, what is the length of the use case courses? Ron, that's going to be up to you. I would probably say maybe a half hour, but that I think we would have to do one and see how much information you want to put in it, so that it's enough information where people feel like they got real value without it being so much that they get lost. So we would have to talk about that. Pam is saying, I stepped away. What qualifies someone to be a member of BCI? So we have a questionnaire, and I'm going to put that link in Flock for you. And you are going to need to fill out that questionnaire. It will include either you uploading your resume or sending us a link to your LinkedIn page. And then from there, you are going to speak with Tawana Rivers, who is our Chief People Officer, just for an interview. And after that, you will be asked to sign an independent contractor agreement and some other things. So that'll be your employment package. And then from there, you will be an official member or consultant within BCI. That package is probably going to be available to us in 3 to 4 weeks. So I hired the attorney today that is creating our entire package for us, including people who are going to earn equity in BCI. She's creating that agreement for us. She's creating our independent contractor agreement and our operating agreement and a couple of other things as well. So we have a really good package with her. So she said that we should get it within 3 weeks. So between 3 to 4 weeks, we should be sending that information out to you. But by June 30th, you need to let us know if you're interested in being a BCI consultant so that we can start pulling that information together. Question, will 11/2 conference day be recorded? Willing to pay? I will be out of the country. It will be recorded. It will not be live streamed. And I have to be careful with saying it will be recorded because I don't know the quality of the recording that day. I did not ask Dwayne Conliffe, who is doing our November 3rd session, I did not ask him to record November 2nd. And I don't know if that information, if it would be better for us to present that information at another time and in another format. So I really do have to think about that, but you're not the first person that asked me about that. So I have to see how we're going to do that in a way that works technically as well as is a good learning experience for you. Ron is saying, are we considering options for multiple delivery methods of the course, BCE, use cases, etc.? Instruction-led distance learning, online, video, absolutely. We want multiple delivery methods. We are going to do instructor-led live. I am going to be working with someone in regards to maybe getting some government training courses that can be instructor-led. There will be things that will be online where, just like we did with the CBE course, where individuals can go in, pay $97 and $99 and take a course, or like a Udemy style, people will be able to take courses on our platform, which we're going to be using Teachable, which is the same platform that the Black Business School uses, and I use it for my other business plan business. So yes, we want to be able to do everything. So everything we're doing is about maximizing the training revenues and maximizing that consulting revenue from the blockchain companies that we're working with. So other questions? Thanks, Sarah. Thanks. Yeah, I am getting kind of scratchy, aren't I? Other questions? Let's see here. And if you have something to say, you can also raise your hand as well. Will there be certifications for the courses? Karen is asking this. Yes. So we are, one of the things, oh, you know what? I have to go back. Ron is actually looking for a platform for us. So we thought about Teachable, but it may not be Teachable. We are looking for a platform that will automatically give a person a certification when they pass a class. So the answer is yes. Tawana saying, Cheree, remind the group that there are only 59 slots remaining for the Friday session. Oh, she's right. There are only 59 slots remaining for the Friday session. We have people that have already signed up for both Friday and Saturday. So get your tickets. Get your tickets. It's going to be vital, especially for that Friday. It's going to be vital for you to move up the ladder from a junior associate to an associate to a senior associate. And I personally am going to be overseeing the education on November 2nd. I'm taking that day very, very seriously. I'm taking November 3rd seriously too, but that November 2nd is really going to be about how do we become the best of the best in terms of a blockchain consultant. I've also reached out to the hotel about getting a smaller room as well for my salespeople so that we can do some practicing in regards to how to network at conferences and how to approach people and how to talk about BCI and convert people. So you call it, there's the sales training. It's late. I'm drawing a blank on the word right now, but where you actually practice your sales pitch. So we're going to be doing that as well. Perez is asking if it's possible to have international clients. Yes, absolutely, because we are Blockchain Consortium International. So yes, international clients, we want to have African, European, Asian, Latin American. We want to have clients from all over the world. As you know, blockchain is an international game, and the decentralization is international. And even the Fortune 500 companies that some of you work with are international. So yes, absolutely. Naresh is saying role playing. Yes, you're absolutely right. We're going to be doing some role playing so that you can get comfortable with how to speak about BCI and what we're doing and what we're capable of. Pam is saying, I forgot, where do we pay for Baltimore? I will put it in Flock. It's a Ticket Leap, and I need to actually get a URL so that I can just say it to people. But we have a Ticket Leap URL that I will also put in Flock. So once we're done with this, in fact, I'm going to write myself a note here. Once we're done with this, I owe you the questionnaire link, which I will put in Flock, and I also owe you the Baltimore conference link, which should be in Flock as well. So you can check that. That'll be in the main BBC page. Oops, did I miss someone's hand? If you want to talk, if you want to raise your hand, you can do that. If I left something off, if you have questions, are you suggesting the Friday and Saturday early bird for more? Sydney, tell me what you mean by more. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Be more. Baltimore. Are you suggesting for Baltimore? Ask me the question again. I'm sorry, Sydney. I'm not getting it. Dr. Keisha is asking if anyone's interested in sharing a hotel room to reach out to her. So if you need a roommate for the hotel room, reach out to Dr. Keisha. So I will say that for the pricing of the conference, Saturday is $99 and Friday is free as long as you purchase as long as you purchase a ticket for Saturday. So the way that we have it in Ticket Leap, it will ask you, do you just want to come on Saturday or do you want to come for both Friday and Saturday? Make sure you select the Friday and Saturday early bird special. So Sydney is saying here, oh, I just answered it, thanks. Yes, so it's Friday and Saturday early bird, and it's $99. You will see it right on the website. Other questions, or did I answer everyone's questions so well that we can take off early? Or if you want to raise your hand and talk, you're more than welcome to. Okay, alrighty then. Well, all of you know where to find me. You can email me personally. You can send me a chat in Flock personally. You can call me or text me. Some of you have my cell phone number, and I will answer as many questions as you have. And I hope that you see our vision, and I hope that you're excited about what we're doing. We feel really, really good about the prospects. And I do want to say this as well. This is not get rich quick. I should have said that in the beginning. This is not get rich quick. This is something that's probably going to take us a few years. I believe it's going to take the blockchain a few more years to really catch on, especially in the United States. The United States, if you look at any of the charts, is lagging behind Asia and Europe in blockchain investment. What I foresee for us is that when these companies finally get it in the United States, they're going to be putting a ton of money into catching up. And I want to be there to grab the ton of money. And I want you to be there as well. That's the game that we're playing. At least that's the game that I'm playing. Ron is asking, do we have a mission statement? Yes, we do. I announced it before. It is, let's see here. It is to help organizations cultivate an idea into a $100 million enterprise. That is our mission statement. Okay, so I'm glad everyone's excited. Reach out to me if you have questions. And Kieran is saying everybody eats. That's my personal mission. Everybody eats, meaning that if you want to work full-time, if you want to work part-time, if you want to reach the highest levels, we're going to have an ecosystem. This is my goal. This is what I wake up thinking about, dreaming about, go to sleep, everything, thinking about, dreaming about. Everybody eats, meaning that if you're willing to work hard, we're going to produce an ecosystem where you are not limited in the income that you can make. So with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Yes, this is going to be on replay. It's going to take a few minutes to, to render, and I'll probably put it up in an hour or so. Okay. Thank you so much, and have a blessed evening. Bye.